when higher education is in such financial distress, or media organizations, right, who are forced so much to cut budgets, it's very tempting to try to look at, oh, can we have an AI reporter instead of a human reporter?
Ladies and gentlemen, I am not yet a bot. I'm just gonna say. I'm not going down that path as of yet. This is really interesting because the mutual brokenness that you're talking about, it comes back down to something very human also, which I keep thinking of the HR example. It's FOMO, right? Like, once there's a technology out there, there's a lot of corporations who are like, well, my competitor's using it, we should use it, which kind of, I think, amplifies or accelerates the problem. But this takes us back to the set of solutions that we as a society and again as individuals should be seeking in order to sort of be able to reduce the impact of the AI snake oil, as you call it. And one of them is regulation, and the regulation also has to incorporate some sort of set of ethical guides. But you also point out that you believe the same companies creating these AI products already have an outsized influence over the very ethical debate over their own usage.
That's right. And I think we all have a part to play in changing this. I think societally, culturally, we're too deferential to these companies. One reason is that we think, oh, these are tech geniuses and what they tell us about the technology must be right. But when you look at the evidence, I think these highly technical folks, if anything, are worse than the average person in anticipating what the societal effects are going to be, or thinking about what the limitations are going to be when you take it out of this toy lab setting and use it in the real world. So I don't think we should be so deferential to them, and I don't think policymakers should be so deferential to the power that these companies have commercially, and I think antitrust enforcement is really important. So all of that is one aspect. A second aspect is that I think as individuals, we all should be doing more to educate ourselves, and this includes me, even as someone who has written a book about this topic, about, okay, what are the AI tools that I might potentially use in my own work? Because there probably are going to be some that are useful, and so it's not a matter of blanket rejecting all of them. But to understand AI well enough to be able to push back on commercial claims if we don't think a particular tool is going to help us. Third, I think as workers in companies, we can take collective action. Right now, too many decisions are being taken by management, and that's based on FOMO. And I think workers advocating together can change that equation. And fourth, I think AI will also have a role in our personal lives. As the parent of 2 young kids, AI is already a tool that makes certain learning interactions a bit more fun. It's not central in any way. I'm not saying AI is essential, but it has been an interesting thing I've found to incorporate into my interactions with them, where we learn stuff. And I do think that as they grow up, generative AI is going to be a big part of their lives. So to be able to teach them little things about the technology, right? What is ChatGPT? That what is it capable of? That it doesn't have feelings. I've enjoyed teaching my young children this. They're going to have to learn that at some point, and I do think it's better to start young.
Yeah, ChatGPT doesn't have feelings. I've encountered kids who, once they realize that, they're just mean to the ChatGPT. Now, these are your avenues of change that you talk about in the book, or not?
These are definitely avenues of change. We also talk about things that are more structural. What do we do about the fact that AI is built on human labor, text or images on the internet, which could be photographs, paintings, poems, right, creative works, and that are taken without compensation. And then further labor goes into annotating, as it's called, the information that goes into AI, and these are usually tens of thousands of workers in developing countries who are paid low wages, prevailing wages for their local economies, but nonetheless, the nature of this work is such that I think that's still unfair compensation, because a lot of the time they have to filter out the gore, right, and the darkest parts of the internet before it goes into AI, so that's how they keep the outputs of AI relatively clean. Those are things we can't necessarily change as individuals, so I do think structural change needs to happen. There's a lot of things the media, governments should all be doing.
So, you know what? Actually, give me one more specific example of a structural change that you'd like to see and see other people. Sure.
This metal old army Jeep
The
car.
fact that there
thing
are, you know,
that's carrying a
few
missile on the
large
back of it,
companies
and
in the
it's all
US
metal.
who have such
kinda cool.
outsized power. Right?
It's
I
got
think there
a-
are a few ways to
like
change
a
that.
bourbon or
Antitrust
something in it.
enforcement, that is one that I was mentioning. But also, what would it mean for governments?
It's just
for
one of those
instance,
holiday
to
things that
fund
was
a
cool. It was just
wide
cool
variety
because
of
it was
entities
like an
to
old
develop
Tonka
and
truck.
deploy AI
You know,
technologies,
completely
whether it's
metal, the wheels
academia
turn on.
or grants to small
Totally.
businesses. There are
But it was
a variety of ways to
$185
change
off
this
the
kind
door.
of concentration of power in the industry.
Got it. So, you know, we've got a couple minutes left here.
And they've only got
I
3.
keep thinking, I'm trying to just rack
have
my
200
brain
if you
for,
want it.
Yep.
examples of what did we collectively do as a species, in fact, not just as a country, but as a species, when we created what is truly civilizational changing technology. And for me, the one that keeps jumping to mind, it may not be the best example, but is the splitting of the atom, right? So we learned
They always
how
got
to
something cool
create,
in there. They got a
release nuclear energy, which can help go to power
AK-47
cities,
in
but
there
it
too.
also
That's
can help go to, you know, evaporating millions of
got
people
full
out of
liquor.
That technology was pursued relentlessly.
But it's glass. I mean, it looks kind of cool. Nothing out, but
achieved.
it looks kind of
And it
cool.
was after its
They got these big
use
bullets in there right
that we
now. I don't know what they were.
collectively, as humanity, said, hey,
Those are plastic.
now we know we
and
can
glass.
do this.
Let's just go
It
home.
has a very massive downside. Let's come together
I spoiled my
and
appetite.
come up with some treaties, some regulations, essentially, over
Dang, I'm kind of
its
hungry.
Huh?
ethical and moral use.
I'm kind of hungry
So
now.
I see that as
Okay.
actually as an example of how good
I'll
things
let you
can
buy this
happen,
time.
structural change can happen with huge leaps forward in technology. With that in mind, do you have some optimism here about our ability to
I have a place to put all my
inject
stuff in this
humanity
purse.
into our development?
They're going, where is it? Where is it?
We're
Where is it?
absolutely
Right?
optimists. If we weren't, we wouldn't have written the book, you know, because what's the point? Let
Think you're so tough
I
and
think there are
disrespectful,
some
Brad.
parallels to the nuclear analogy. Let me give you
Wait, somebody speaks on the phone.
Oh, that must have seen
Enforcement of laws and wrongful detentions.
$2. So we must have won the Lucky for Life.
Still says arbitrary enforcement of local laws is a problem, including in relation to exit bans. But the change is
win your money
significant.
back.
China had been struggling to attract visitors.
Well, you're not
and this
never
may
going to
be
win your money
easier
back
for
for that
American
thing.
students and others
It's not
to travel
designed
to
like the
China.
other one was.
John Ruich, NPR News.
People didn't know there was a
Law
way to
in
beat
Ohio
it.
says that on school grounds, a transgender man or woman must use a multi-person bathroom that corresponds to their sex at birth, not gender identity. Republican Governor Mike DeWine signed the legislation today. It applies to bathrooms, locker rooms, and overnight accommodations on all school grounds. Teachers' unions and civil rights groups objected. The ACLU of Ohio said that the measure
That's kind of messed up. It's going to cause a lot of
Ohio
problems
residents
in schools,
less
isn't it?
safe. From Washington,
They're saying you're supposed to be your
this
gender once you're
NPR
born,
News.
even after these kids change.
Support for NPR comes from NPR stations.
That
Other
is
contributors
just-
include Fisher Investments. As
That's
a
just
fiduciary,
wrong.
Fisher Investments is obligated to act in their clients' best interest. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com. Investing in securities involves
That's what I
risk of loss.
really don't
This
agree
is
with.
NPR.
This is CPR News and KRCC. Mike Lamb. The University of Denver is facing an $11 million deficit, partly because of declining enrollment. 8 staff members at DU have been laid off. Another 15 positions will be replaced. Aaron Schneider, the president of DU's chapter of the American Association of University Professors, says the cuts will negatively
Wrong block.
affect
We need to go to the next one.
Where are you going to go?
Let's go. Try to get to the next one.
Wendy's.
is among the highest tuitions across Colorado, charging a base of
We're gonna go to Kiara's
$60,000
store.
for a full year of courses.
To where?
The word of the year,
Kiara's
according
store.
to dictionary.com,
Oh.
is demurral.
Yeah, they're
Haley
coming.
May explains.
Okie dokie.
Not the one by our
that's your
house.
governor, Jared Polis, attempting to be on trend with the latest TikTok phrase.
Because those are alright, those steak things.
The pop culture reference started when beauty
And this
influencer
store obviously
Jules
has problems with their
LeBron posted a
cooking
video
equipment,
to
so
her
maybe they
account in
have a good
August
deal.
describing a
Or they
makeup
just
look
don't wanna
as
do
very
anything.
demure, which quickly went viral.
I think the guy that was cooking didn't show up for work today.
Dictionary.com says the word experienced a nearly 12%
Oh, Fat County.
increase in usage on digital web media alone this year.
See how I dress for the Colorado State Fair? Very demure.
Other words that made the short list: brain rot, and of course, brat. Gen Z slang terms that still have some of us sweating our heads. Haley May, CPR News.
University of Colorado football coach Deion Sanders says he'll give his personal Jim Thorpe Award trophy to CU wide receiver Travis Hunter. Sanders says he was outraged after Hunter was snubbed as a finalist for this year's prize. The Jim Thorpe Award goes to the best defensive back in college football. Sanders himself
Yeah,
won it
but I
in
bought a real
1988.
purse.
Travis Hunter is still in running for this year's
I
college
finally
football
bought a real
Heisman
purse.
Trophy. This is CPR News and KRCC.
Support comes from the Boulder
Now you've had
Ensemble
one.
Theater Company, presenting
Your wallet
Little
is considered
Women,
purse.
a heartwarming story of 4 sisters coming of
Or a
age
European
during the
handbag,
Civil
if you
War.
recall.
Starts December 5th. The Gary Arts Center in Boulder. Tickets at betc.org.
From NPR and WBUR, I'm Deepa Fernandez in Alameda, California. I'm Robin Young in Boston. It's here now. President-elect Donald Trump continues to build his team, announcing Dr. Jay Bhattacharya as his pick to lead the National Institutes of Health, NIH. Back before COVID vaccines were available, Bhattacharya led fierce criticism of lockdowns, which then NIH Director Francis Collins called dangerous, and Bhattacharya a fringe expert. So there was that, but Donald Trump's pick for counterterrorism director is the one reportedly sending shockwaves through his own transition team and Republicans, many of whom view that pick, Sebastian Gorka, as dangerous and underqualified. Gorka is a British-Hungarian
Oh, we'll have munchies when we go to the park, right? We'll have munchies when we go to the park, right?
Advisor. He will now take up the post of deputy assistant to the president and senior
Sounds like.
which doesn't
I was headed
require
towards
Senate
home.
confirmation.
Oh, okay.
John Hudson, national security reporter for the Washington Post, is here. Hi, John.
Thought you were going to go to Tierra's
People
store.
who know of Gorka probably know he's railed against Muslims, for instance, after
Okay.
October 7th attacks by Hamas. He said Israel should kill every single one of them. From that
Hey, we need you.
Yeah,
he believes that
Yes.
Islam poses
Yeah.
a unique threat to Western civilization.
Either one's fine.
He spent much of his time writing about this, talking about
Okay.
it on conservative radio, and appearing on Fox News.
You know, I
and
just needed to get pulled over, so now we're good.
Wow.
Right.
Almost 3 feet over here.
Well, no, I'm pulled over right now. I got all the all the paperwork in front of me, so. Right. Okay. No. Okay. Anything that doesn't have the red, blue, or purple dyes, right? Okay. Right. Right, right. Okay. Oh, okay, good. Okay, yeah, let me write that down. 'Cause it... It'll just be me until I'm done, and then I'm gonna call. Oh no, I got my spouse's ticket in. Yes, yeah. Last 42996, is that your number?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's right. It says Sarah on my phone, so I don't know. Okay.
This is funny watching this guy pull the snow off of his roof. What am I going to pull next where I don't get an evidence?
I do smoke. I'm a little nervous about that.